Aloha and welcome. It is Aloha Friday. Cassie is saying hi. No, lying. Cassie is saying, "Give me a treat now." So yeah, thank God these came in. So these are like the answer to my prayers. Wrigley, come here. Wrigley, here, take that one. He's trying to steal from his mom. Yeah, the other one just goes back there real quick. It's like, I got one. It's mine. Yay! Aloha and welcome, gang. We are on Aloha Friday. It is time for a new weekend to start. For those of you on the mainland, it's officially weekend here. It's 4 o'clock. We still have a couple more minutes or hours. Wait, okay. What time does the weekend officially start, gang? That'd be a problem there. Is it based off of when you work, maybe? Yeah, maybe that's the best way to put it. So anyhow, aloha. I've got me my water. I got me what's left of my Coke from earlier. And I just got me one of those Barokas. I really love these. These things are great. I'm getting all of my vitamins in with these. The Baroka's really helping. And if you need energy, they've got vitamins. There's one called Boost. This one is the Boost version. It's got caffeine in it. So God help everyone now because I'm drinking caffeine. Yeah. So how is everyone? Let me rewind back through my comments so I can say hi's while we allow YouTube to get all the stuff up. I know Cajun was first. There she is. She set her notifications and look at it. She's here. I think I saw her. Yeah, there she is. And Magenta Trauma. Hey, thanks for popping back in. And listening, this is one of the reasons why this live is one reason why I tell my mods, you guys, your focus is here for yourself, okay? If you're modding, awesome, but if a subject, sometimes these subjects are subjects you really need to be listening to and not worried about, oh my gosh, what did that person say and all. Or even chatting. Honestly, sometimes you're not in the mood to chat because you're pulling in information. So, yes. And Search and Rescue Canine Mom. I've been watching you over in Sleuth's chat and have really enjoyed getting to know you over there. And so you love to join the disc. You have a rare disorder. No. Oh, wow. 34 and 30. That's the thing. There's so many of us that have these little illnesses or disorders that affect our day-to-day life. And what started as a one-time live has actually turned into 3 different weeks pretty much. And this should probably be the end until we'll come back to it. Trust me, we're going to come back to it. Because not only do I think every one of us have some level of a visible or invisible illness we're dealing with, whether it be a migraine, diabetes, cancer, fibromyalgia, issues with our stomach, irritable bowel, whatever it is. Everyone has something, it seems. And in the same breath, many of us are also caregivers. So how balancing all these things. So that's why today, actually, we're doing this extra part of the series that I had not originally planned is because someone, and if this person wants to say who they are in chat, please feel free to say who you are, had asked, could we do one more from the outsider's view? Okay, the caregiver, okay, the friend, things like that. How do you help someone when they have these issues? So thank you, though, for sharing all that, definitely. Let's see, who else we got here? I know I saw a lot of people further down. Grandma Sherry is here. Hello, my dear. And Sip, I am getting used to the Sip. I am. Actually, I got to hear the story someday on how you came up with that name. I love how people will come up with names. It always interests me how they do that. So Red Rock, hello, Red Rock. And Kelly in the bushes. And Angie Marie, my karaoke twin. And because we both love the same type of music, it seems. Arden, how you doing, my dear? I'm happy you made it. Robbie's here. Hey, Robbie. Robbie, yeah, you're also another one. You deal with a lot of these things, plus you caregive, okay? Because you're someone, you love someone who is also dealing with stuff. Okay, caregiver doesn't necessarily mean that you are there every minute of the day providing care and stuff like that. It's just having a relationship with. I caregive for my mom, but she's pretty much independent. But I still count myself as a caregiver because I'm there for when she needs me. So, and what she's going through affects me. And so let's see. Do I miss anyone else here? I'm sorry if I missed anyone. I think I got everyone so far. But let me know if I missed you. And aloha, gang. And a Miss Red Rock. And there's another one. Struggle is up. There's two more popping in there. Struggle is real, of course. Discord. I swear, StreamYard does not like to bring comments. There we go. Struggle is real. Hello and welcome, my dear. And NY Nightoven. Hello, hello, hello. And so, first rule as we move forward is I'm going to get a drink real quick. Okay, now we can move on with what comes first. Also, I'm hoping my mom's watching TV and she conveniently lost her hearing aid this morning and I got to look for it tonight. So I'm hoping it won't go too loud. I'm hoping Crisp does its job and not only cuts the dogs out, but also cuts off her TV. We'll find out. So let me know if it gets loud. I can shut the door more. So as we move forward with this, okay, this isn't going to be one of the heavy discussions like when we've done eating disorders, PTSD, boundaries, all sorts of that. This is going to be a little not light by any means, but definitely not something that triggers people. But you never know. All of us sometimes can get triggered by, I mean, hell, I've been triggered by a certain smell before. You never know. Yeah, Angie Marie lost hearing aids. It's basically, I look for hearing aids at least once every 2 days. It's part of our game that we play with each other, I think. Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. But for those of you, as we're going through this, please remember, and we go over this at the top of each live, 988 here in the United States, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you ever need someone to help talk to, if you're having problems, okay, and things like that, please call them. And that's what they're there for. And yes, Cajun True Crime was the one who made the suggestion that we talk about this today. It was her. And I had another subject, which actually I'll probably work on in a coming week. We're going to go back to the 4 agreements. But this really did make sense. I asked for the live because I'm sick and now Mom is sick. Exactly. And it's something that I think a lot of us are having to balance, both of those things. So let's start with the discussion about illness. Okay, up to now, we've talked more or less invisible illnesses. Okay, what is an invisible illness? As a reminder, those are the things that a lot of times you can't tell someone is sick by just looking at them. Okay, maybe they have, high blood pressure. Maybe they have chronic fatigue syndrome. Sjogren's, so many different other things, irritable bowel a lot of times. Okay, a lot of different things that are not readily recognizable, anemia. Okay, but they affect a person's life. They affect their ability to operate from day to day. And then you have the visible illnesses. Those are the ones that you know. When you look at them, you know. Okay. If you see a person who has lost their hair and they're looking skinny and stuff like that, a lot of times you'll know, okay, that might be cancer going on there. You can kind of get those feelings at times. It's not a guarantee, but it's more outward. And then you've got some that do both. Cancer, for example, is a perfect example. Sometimes you can tell a person has cancer. Once you know, you're like, oh, yeah, now it makes sense. Other times you can't. It's not something that they wear outwardly. Okay, liver failure, Cajun True Crime, bingo. Sometimes you're going to recognize it because you'll notice the jaundice, things like that. But other times you're not going to notice anything about it. Okay, many other things. Just diabetes can kind of go back and forth depending on what's going on. So today, what we want to do is get away from just the idea of invisible illness. We're talking all illness now. Okay, dealing with when you have a friend, a family member, someone who is dealing with an illness of any type, and you are trying to be there for them. Okay. How do we support them? We've been talking for the last couple weeks about things we don't want to say. Okay. And what upsets us when people make comments to us and we're like, oh my God. Okay. And we've talked that. So some of this we'll have heard before. Some of this is going to be new. And so let's start off with just remembering what the misconceptions are about illness. There's a lot of things when we hear someone is sick. Let's type it into chat. If I told you right now that my brother is sick and I just left it like that, my brother's sick. What are some of the things you would be in your head thinking that if you saw my brother walk into the room right now and I told you he was sick, what do you think he'd look like? Okay. He might be kind of disheveled. He might be very, very pale. Okay. He could be kind of sweaty, maybe. Okay. We have these little things. Maybe he's walking with a limp. Okay. All these outward things that are going on. But many times there's these misconceptions. They turn into misconceptions because a look does not mean a person is sick or not. Okay. There are many, many times that I may go out and my oxygen's in the 80 percentiles, yet no one would know. And so first misconception is a lot of people feel that how a person is looking at that moment reflects how they're feeling. So if they look good, okay, if they look healthy, if they look okay, like nothing's bothering them or anything like that, then they must be doing fine. What you don't realize is they're fighting a migraine and they're doing everything they can to deal with that migraine, maybe. And so remembering those things, because as a caregiver, okay, or a support person, we need to recognize that a lot of times I'll do that with my mom. I'll be like, oh, mom's doing great today and everything. And no, she's not. She's just not letting on to me what's going on. The next misconception is that if people just sleep, if they just reduce their stress, that's going to help cure whatever's going on. Okay, so think about when people make those comments. Okay, I've said it to my own mom before. Okay, if you just deal with your stress, you won't have to deal with all these things as much. Okay, stress reduction, sleep will help a person feel better, most likely, but it's not a cure. And that's a lot of times when a person is dealing with these things. Okay, and you're telling them, well, if you just sleep, you'll feel better. No, you're not necessarily going to feel better. And understanding that becomes very important. And I'm going through this first stack of things pretty quickly because we kind of talked about a lot of these, but just as a reminder for the new people that are here today. This was one thing a lot of you guys had mentioned, that a lot of times you learn and you act a certain way because that's what's expected. Okay, if you are dealing with a hidden illness or any illness at all, you fake that everything's fine. You go to a party and you'll act like everything's fine because that's what is being expected. The problem is a lot of times as caregivers, we're looking in from the outside and we're like, oh, them. They're enjoying their talking story with people and they're walking around, they're having a drink, they're doing all these things. So again, not a lot of times we look at people and we make a lot of our judgments about what's going on in their life based off of that look. And the other misconception, being home all day is the dream lifestyle. Couple of you guys said that. There's a couple people in this group that are on disability and stuff, and you wish you could go out more often. However, unfortunately, you have to be inside due to whatever it is that you're fighting. Okay, whether it is something that is pain related, for example. If you stand up and you go out shopping, you are going to be in horrendous pain by the end of it. So yes, you are at home, Okay, but it's not because you want to live that dream life. Okay, you would rather be out. So a lot of times when people see others who are staying home, we make that judgment immediately that, oh yeah, you know what, that they're at home, they're comfortable, they're in their own bed, or they're in their own lazy boy seat, or things like that. And we forget the reason why they are doing that. And yes, Cajun True Crime hit it on the head. It's lonely to be in your heart. Many of these people don't want to be in their house all day long. They would rather be out having fun. They would rather be out, okay, going to a party or going to go see a movie or things like that. But they're having to do this because of whatever is going on, whether it's an invisible or even visible. Okay, say you have cancer. Okay, you don't want to be going out there because there's a chance that you could get sick. Me. Okay, I have issues where I definitely did not want to have COVID. Okay, it would not have been a pretty picture for me. Okay, and knock on wood, I've been really good about it. But I've also tried to stay away as much as possible, not to the point where it's crazy or anything like that, but I have actually watched it because I know the more I'm with a big group of people, like shopping during the holiday season, the higher the chance was that I could come down with COVID just from being around other people. And I did not want to end up with a visit to the ICU. And I don't know how I would handle that right now. And so that becomes a misconception that people are staying at home because it's just easy for them and all. There's reasons behind it. And last of the misconceptions is chronic pain. Okay, this was brought up by people in chat last week. People get a misconception, doctors get this misconception that a person who is in chronic pain is drug seeking because they're looking for the meds that work for them so that they're not in pain and can enjoy their life and things like that. And yet, okay, that does require medications for many people, right? And also we get into this thing where they're labeled sometimes without even knowing. You may actually have someone who is in chronic pain but does not even touch drugs because they don't want to. Maybe they have an addiction issue from the past or something like that. And also they don't even touch it, but we kind of cover that, okay, in our head. And we're like, yeah, they're in pain. So yeah, I bet you they're out looking for, they need, okay, medications to feel better, things like that. So those are some of the big misconceptions that we as a support system, as a caregiver, need to be aware of. Things that we just need to kind of make sure we know about it. Grandma Sherry, that's me. No opioids due to family dependency. Yeah. You know, if you have an addictive personality, for example, and you're like, okay, as much as I'd like to go doing that, I'd like to have meds because I know they would take care of the pain and I wouldn't have to be in pain. Okay, as much, you make the decision, I need to do this because it's best for me. Angie Marie, my last doctor, treated me like a drug addict because of my ADHD meds. Bingo. Luckily, you have not, and that's important. If a doctor's not listening to you, move. Yes, people might, we went over this last week. People start into the whole idea of doctor shopping and all that. Well, no. Yeah, there is something true about doctor shopping. There are people out there who do doctor shop for meds. But yes, there's also a huge number of people who doctor shop because they're looking for the doctor that works best with them and understands their thought process and how they approach illness. And yes, Grandma Sherry, weed helps, doesn't it, though? And also, so now that we've kind of gone through those things, Mercy, welcome, my dear. It's going good. It's going good. It is an Aloha Friday, and I'm a very, very happy camper. And so we've gone through the misconceptions. And so now, what happens when you are trying to be there for family, for friends? Okay, Cajun True Crime mentioned her mom's sick right now. Okay, so she's trying to be there for her mom. How do you go about being there for your mom, for your brother, for your sister, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever the hell it is? Okay, what are some of the things that you can do to support those people? And so, one of the first and probably the hardest for me out of this whole list is wanting to make people better. We talked about the type of person who will question things and they try to fix. They're the fixers. I'm a fixer. I always want to try to figure out a way that I can help someone not hurt anymore. So I can help someone feel better. I can help someone find the right, treatment plan, whatever it is. Hey, Jingles, welcome, my dear. So important rule, straight up. Sorry, someone's getting noise. Is accept you are powerless to make them better. We can't make someone better. We want to. We want them to feel better. We want them not to hurt. We want them not to, we want them to be able to hold down food. We want all that. Amber, love you, my dear. No problem. I know you're working and all that, but love you, my dear. And thanks for popping in. Thank you. Okay, so yeah, Cajun True Crime can't be there because of immunosuppressants. So how do you do these different things? Well, we can't help them with a cure. We can't always take pain away. Okay, and the moment we realize that we don't have that ability, then it opens us up to being able to be there for them. Just be there for them. Okay, it's not about telling them, oh, I read about this. Yeah, there's going to be some discussions where you're like, oh, I read about this new drug or stuff like that. That's part of being educated, which will be another thing we talk about. But the moment you can say, okay, I know I can't make my mom, my mom had ovarian cancer. I know I cannot make my mom's ovarian cancer better, but I can be here for when she's having issues going on. I can be there to help her in other ways, to not feel alone, to know that someone has her back, things like that. To know she has a shoulder she can cry on if she needs that shoulder. And next, they need your love. They need the understanding. More than you solving all their problems for them, they need you to just care about them. They need you to be able to listen to them, not guess how they feel or guess what they want from. They just want you to listen. Ask them, okay, what can I do for you? Things like that, so that they know that you are there for them. You are not there for the codependent reason of, I'm going to fix it all. You're actually there to help them in whatever way they may need. And if that is just sitting and watching, like a couple nights ago, mom was having a rougher night, emotionally. We just had the anniversary of my grandmother, her mother's death, and the anniversary of my dad's death is coming up in a couple weeks. And so it's a rough time of year for her. So I noticed there was one night I just wanted to go into my bedroom. I wanted my private night. And, but I went in and talked with her. And even though she was saying, no, go, I could see it in her eyes that she didn't want to ask me to stay with her, but you could see it. You could see it. And also I finally, I'll sit with you tonight. We'll watch a movie. And we did. We watched Wakanda Forever together. And so just being there for them, letting them know that you're there for them. Take time to learn about what's going on with them. So when you're talking to that person, that friend or whatever, there's nothing wrong with asking them, can you tell me a little bit about what it is you're dealing with? We were talking earlier, we have someone in chat who has something that's more rare. No one's going to be able to understand the the fight that has had to happen up to this point. Okay, the medical fight with testing, surgeries, things like that. But if you sit down with the person and say, okay, so can you tell me a little bit about this disorder? Okay, what are the symptoms? What are the things you're having to deal with? What are your symptoms? Not just what are the generic symptoms, but what are the symptoms you deal with? And Mercy Choke, we're talking about the kind money. Yeah. What we're just doing right now is just talking, kind of continuing last week's discussion, but from a caregiver point of view. What can you do for those people that are around you that are dealing with illness? Because a lot of times we don't know what to do. Okay, we feel like we can't do anything to help. And yet there's so much we can. And so talk to them, learn about what is going on, because basically if you think about, you got to go back to last week. Last week we had a panel with people on panel, actually, for those of you who didn't see it, and I know there's a lot of people. We had a bunch of people who came up on panel, and we talked about invisible illness and how it affects our lives. Okay, and things that upset us sometimes when people approach us in certain ways. Okay, all that. So it was actually a really great live where we just came together and talked about issues each of us had. So in this case, it is just knowing, because I firmly believe knowledge is power. You hear that all the time. Knowledge is power. It is. If you understand what a person is going through, okay, that is your first step towards being able to understand and then make the choice to empathize. You cannot empathize with a person if you do not understand where they're coming from, how they feel, and how they're reacting to things. We can say we're an empath all we want to, but when we're doing that without the knowledge behind us, we're making assumptions about a lot of that. So asking them how they're feeling so that we can then truly be there for them. And next, recognizing when okay, guys, seriously, when you're sick, do you always want someone around you? Are there times that you just want quiet? On the other hand, are there times you feel completely alone and need people around you? So recognize, Grandma Sherry, bingo, Sherry, sip. No, there are definitely times, you know what? There are times that we're all human, and depending on where we are at that time, we may want that privacy. Okay, I had a long talk a couple years ago with a good friend about visiting people in the hospital, because it never fails for me that if you go into the hospital, it seems like you have guests 24/7. If possible, there will be someone coming to visit you every minute of the day. And at some point you're like, I need a break. I need a break. I need time to sleep. I need time to just veg. I need time to build my own energy back. So sometimes what does happen, I like that, Sherry. My term to be left alone is I'm going to be small and quiet. I like that, actually. Talking with the person, letting them know that, you know what, it's nothing about you. I just need some time. I need some quiet time to be small and quiet, whatever it is. So that way that person can have the time to break. That also gives you as a caregiver time for a break. Because I can tell you, when my family is sick, I am with them all the time. I want to make sure there's nothing they are in need for, okay, that if anything pops up, I'm right there for them, whatever. And sometimes that can get to the point where I am working so much towards trying to help them that I forget about myself. And guys, as caregivers, we got to take care of ourselves more than anything else. We got to take care of ourselves. So it's like when you've got a baby, those of you who've ever had a newborn and all, you hear about how you take naps when the baby is taking a nap. It's kind of the same thing as a caregiver. You're taking time for yourself. Mercy choke. Okay, very important topic. I've worked extensively with soldiers. Yes, with PTSD and PTSS. I hold degrees in clinical and abnormal psychology, so I volunteer. That. Thank you for doing. From those of us that have military ties, and thank you so much for being there for them. And my husband has MS, and it destroyed. Bingo. One of the comments out there is, in fact, I was just reading it about MS specifically. I just was on their website a few minutes ago, and they have a little handout, a brochure. And on that brochure, one of the topics is that when one person in the family has MS, everyone in the family has MS. Now, does it mean you have the actual disease? No. But you all share all of dealing with the symptoms, dealing with the emotions and different emotions also. And cancer is the same way. I mean, Cajun True Crime and I've been talking because both of us have had to deal with families, members who have had to deal with cancer actively or in the past. And Grandma Sherry, thank you for being a member for a whole month. Yes, we are hitting that month, and I'm loving it because I'm getting to see everyone's little my little African Grays pictures are popping up. So now we have Halpia for the one beginners, and then my Ka'i for the next one. You guys will have to wait till next month to find out what pops up next. Who pops up next? We'll put it that way. And also, so knowing when you have someone who has cancer or something like that, okay, any terminal disease or potentially terminal disease, okay, the emotions are all over the place. Okay, sometimes you just need to go into a room and cry. Even if you're not the one with cancer, you need to cry because you're worried about losing someone who you care about. Okay, if you've got someone who is suffering an acute illness, you don't know what's going to come out of that. So you're dealing with the emotions of potential loss, definite loss of what life was like before. Okay, what do I mean by that? Okay, even if it is not a terminal disease, your life changes. Okay, even if it's something such as diabetes, okay, chronic fatigue syndrome, seizures, things like that. Anything that changes in a person's life changes the everyday moment to moment because you're never sure what else is possible out there. And also it does. Sometimes they want people so they can spend time together. Stop growling. So they can spend time together with each other and cry on each other's shoulder. Or one second, let me hear you go, Cass. Okay. Other times, honestly, all of us just want that time just to deal with things. And knowing your friend, knowing your family member, are they an extrovert? Are they an introvert? Because again, each person's going to be treated differently based off of that. Okay, I'm an introvert. When I'm not feeling good, I tend to become even more introverted. Okay, I love knowing that people care about me and they're worried about me and all. Okay, trust me, that I do appreciate. But I don't have the energy to do 1 hour talks with friends, okay, or spend hours and hours with mom at that. Sometimes I just need to be on my own when I'm having a rough time. And the other thing kind of tied to this idea of recognizing when to be with people, how to support them, stuff like that, is recognizing that it can be very frustrating. It can be. Oh my God, it can be so, especially on, I hate to say it, invisible illnesses. When you have a loved one with an invisible illness, you have to remind yourself my dad, it was easy. It was easy to deal with my dad and his issues because he was an amputee. He lost a leg due to diabetes and all that. Okay, so it was easy. This was his bed right here. It's a hospital bed. Okay, you could see when he'd transfer, it was easy to recognize things. Did I still get frustrated? Oh, hell yeah. I still would get frustrated because I'd be like, I know you can do that if you just tried hard enough. Okay, so you have to stop yourself at that point and let yourself know that, you know what? Like anything in life, if you feel your emotions are getting to that point where you're going to blow up, you need that time for yourself. Okay, try not to get frustrated by knowing where you are emotionally. Mercy, I will definitely let you know on that one. Yeah, let's keep in touch with that because there's definitely, I've been trying different subjects and I'm starting to do more panel discussions also for these. After we introduce a subject, build up to a panel. And also, Cajun True Crime, she's the strongest woman I know. Even Locomai has to remind me of how strong she is based on how she's been taken care of. You know, our moms, okay, I am going to say this. I think moms, dads, okay, significant others to some degree also feel like they can't show their emotions a lot of times to us because their job is to take care of us. My mom's job her whole life has been to take care of me and my brother. And so when she's got rough times, okay, it's harder for her to ask for help at that point. In fact, I get into fights with her at times because I'm like, you can't expect me to read your mind. You got to tell me if you need something because I can't read your mind, especially with invisible things, because I don't know where the pain, and that's part of the discussions we need to have with the person we're trying to support. Okay, I've had to sit down and tell her, you know what, and I got to do the same thing because I expect people to read my mind for some reason also. And, but having that discussion to say, okay, you know, if you need help, if you need me to make dinner that one night or do your part of what we do around the house or something, you need to let me know. If you need private time, you need to let me know. I'm not going to get hurt. I'm not going to be upset. You need to understand that I want to fix. That's just who I am. And I'm going to want to fix you. And I'm having to understand and come to terms with the idea I can't fix you. And also I'm going to want to try to do things for you now. And you got to let me know if I'm going overboard. And so try not to get frustrated. But if you do, remember, you need to take care of yourself. And part of that is having that open discussion with each other. And so if you're with someone and you're trying to help them, you're trying to be with them, to support them, what are things you can say? Okay, we talk all the time about what not to say. Okay, and we're going to kind of go through that here too. And because I've got specific sentences, because if you're like me, if you tell me, okay, oh, well, you're not going to want people to feel like you don't believe them or stuff like that, then I get into my head and I start saying to myself, well, if I say this, does that upset them? Well, how if I worded it this way? Is that going to upset them? It helps me if I know ideas, suggestions on how I can word things. So one of the things you can actually say is, yeah, I'm here for you. Bingo. Exactly, Grandma Sherry. I'm here for you. And I don't know exactly what to say, but please know how much I care. That is because a lot of times we want to say, oh, I am so sorry for I'm this, and we don't know. Chances are we don't know what to say. It's okay to acknowledge that. It's okay to acknowledge that, hey, I have no idea what I should be saying right now, but I know I care about you, I love you, and I want to make sure that I'm here for you in any way I can be. Okay, please know that I'm here for you in that way. It's no problem with saying that, something like that. It doesn't have to be some wonderfully worded comment or things like that that has a solution at the end and all that other stuff. No, it's just saying, I don't know what to say, but I love you and I care about you and I want to be here for you. And next, what can I do for you? Okay, again, rather than us making guesses as to what is best for someone else, because a lot of times we do that. Okay, we don't want to ask, so we just try to figure out, well, if it was me, what would I need? Well, we're all different. And Cajun True Crime, you did the best you could, and that's awesome. Bingo. That's a good one. Jet's mom, I love you, my dear. I can't tell what someone needs. I say, I love you. I'm present. Do you need me to listen or do you need advice? That, Jet's mom, thank you for making that, because I know I used to tell people that also a long time ago, and I forgot to put that into here. One of the best things you can do for sometimes people want advice. They actually really do want to know. Okay, if it's educated based off of reading and stuff like that. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they just want someone to sit there and listen to them scream. And so asking them, okay, I love you. I'm here for you. Okay, I'm here. What is it you need from me? What is it best if I just sit here with you, hold your hand, listen to you, cry with you, whatever. It's okay to cry with the other person too. And as long as you guys aren't getting stuck in the victim portion of it. You know what I mean by victim? Not necessarily you're a victim, but the poor me. Yes, poor me is going to be part of everything we do, but you got to pull yourself out of it at some point too. And so, hello, La Princessa. And Cajun True Crime, I just randomly text mom and tell her I love you and I appreciate you. Bingo. Bingo, exactly. And Cassie, come down here for a second, baby. And so what can I do for you? Okay, let them know. Okay, maybe they need help picking up medications that week. Okay, maybe they need to talk about their fears, okay, as to the direction their illness is going. And could be many of those different things there. I'm always here if you ever want to talk. Kind of goes along with a lot of what we were talking about. Okay, just letting them know I'm here. I'm here in whatever way you need me. I am here. And also, I'm sorry this happened to you. Okay. Instead of so many of the other times where we'll say things like, okay, well, we're going to go into that next. I'll wait for that for next, but just letting them know, I'm sorry this happened to you. Okay, because you are. You wish that that person had not developed cancer. You wish that that person hadn't developed, okay, Parkinson's or anything, any of these things. You do. And you're sorry for that. Okay, and you're letting them know that you care about them in that point. Now, what do you not say? This is where a lot of the questions come in, because some of these things are the first things that my mind goes to. And it's good to remember this, because a lot of times these are the gut reactions. This is the fixer portion, the part that wants to fix things. Okay. Oh, God, I am so sorry. I know how you feel. I know exactly how you feel. No, you don't. Oh, hell no, you don't know exactly how they feel. You know what? Even if it's something you had, maybe you've had cancer before and now your friend has it. That doesn't mean you know exactly how they feel, because the way they deal with the emotion is differently than the way you dealt with it. The pain may be different. Okay, the symptoms may be different. So no, you don't know exactly how they feel. Yes, you know much of some of the generalities of it. Okay, but you don't know exactly. And in a way, once you do that, you're cutting off their ability to be an individual. So if someone told you, oh, I know exactly how you feel, let me ask you guys in chat. If someone comes up to you after you tell them how, okay, you're sick with something or another or whatever, and they come to you and they say, I know exactly how you're feeling, how you feel. What's the first thought that goes through your mind? What are you thinking about in that moment? I know me. I know it takes a few minutes for you guys to type everything in, but I actually get angry. I actually get angry because I feel in a way like my whatever I'm dealing with has been minimized and cut down to what someone else has gone through. And even if that person is being the sweetest thing on earth, I get pissed off. Okay, I won't say it because I'm not yet. Princess Meghan, same thing. Okay, I'm not going to tell them that because I don't want to hurt them. But I'm like, no, you don't. No, you don't know how I feel right now. And you're not having to deal with everything else. Cajun True Crime, I get pissed and said, no, you say no, you don't. There you go. And a lot of people can do that. Whoops, sorry, 1 second. I got a puppy who wants to come back up with me. So that's one of the first things. Hey, Nicole, no worries, my dear. No worries at all. One of the first things that a lot of us do say is that I know how you, oh, I'm so sorry. I know how you feel right now. That's something that tends to come out. I've done it myself many times. And I have to always remind myself now, don't do that. And the next is a fill in the blank. You know, when so-and-so had that, okay. Oh, yeah, when Mary had irritable bowel syndrome, okay. Oh, yeah, she took this medication and everything happened, okay. Everything got better, or this happened, or that happened. You know, again, these are individuals. When we start lumping in, and yes, now, is there a place where it might help the person to know, okay, what has happened to others? Oh, hell yeah, it does. Okay, my mom, when she came down with cancer, okay, she got into Facebook groups so she could hear what was going on with other people. I told you guys with me and my pulmonary hypertension, I joined groups so I could get a better idea what happened. And, but I know in my heart, I'm an individual. So it's going to be different for everyone. So again, it generalizes the whole idea when you go starting conversations this way. Now, it is helpful to know, okay, how people, but it's also, in fact, Cajun True Crime and I talked about this when her mom came down with things. A lot of people will come up with the thing that, oh, yeah, this is a death sentence and this is this, do. I had it and all that. Well, you're still alive. So a lot of us, we tend to look at the negative side of things. And many times being realistic is important, yes, but hope is important also. And when someone is dealing with fighting the fight against an illness, having that positive thing to hold on to makes all the difference in the world. A lot of times. My mom still to this day swears her frame of mind is the reason why she's still with us 10 plus years later when she was given a couple months to live. Now, does that mean it happens with everyone? Oh, hell no. No. Everyone's an individual and things attack the body differently. And so let's see what we got. Cajun True Crime. It may have worked for them, but I'm different. I have different circumstances. I'm not normal. What works for them, chances are, won't work for me. Yeah, exactly. Jet's mom, exactly. It's dismissive. It's like someone saying, okay, yeah, it'll be okay. Just keep moving forward and stuff like that. You know, sometimes you don't want to move forward. Sometimes you want to just kind of wallow in it for a little bit. And there's nothing, again, like I said, wrong with doing that. Okay, yes, you got to pull yourself out of it. And that was my job with my mom when she was sick. Okay, my job was, yes, if we needed to wallow in it for a little while, I was there. I was there to cry. I was there to, okay, hold her or whatever needed to be done. But I was also there to recognize when she was ready to make that switch and approach things in a different direction. Okay. Grandma Sherry, I had to distance from my best friend due to her saying, what now? Yeah, And you know what? Those are the boundaries you put into place because you need to take care of yourself. When you're fighting an illness, you need to be taking care of yourself. Okay, whether you're the caregiver or the person who's sick, even, you got to take care of yourself. And so next would be, oh, you are so brave. You are, oh my gosh, I can't believe how brave you are right now. You are so strong. I don't know what I would do in your place. And that was a hard one because a lot of times you're thinking, oh, well, in a way, I'm letting them know how brave they are, that they can fight this and stuff like that. But many times for people, what they're going to see that as is someone who's saying, gosh, yeah, I can't believe you're able to fight that right now because you know what, most people would not be able to do that. And you know what, it's looking at the negative side of things, if that makes sense. Cajun True Crime, I give myself 10 minutes to feel sorry for myself, then I force myself to stop, then I start joking about it to keep from crying. Yeah. There's a place for all those things. I'm not like this one here. I'll be honest. I pulled this one off the internet and I'm like, yeah, but I think there are times you do want to say, you know, I've really been proud of how you've handled this. Okay. And it's also how you go about saying it because you do want them to know that they have been brave, that they have been strong in approaching this stuff. But it's also letting them know it's okay to be weak also at times because holding in those more feelings of, oh my God, I can't do this and stuff like that. You hold that in, it eats you up inside just as much as anger, hate, all those other feelings do also. Yeah, Jet's mom, and so am I. I go talking about all the positive strengths and stuff like that. And for some people, that might be totally what they need. But for some people, focusing on a question like it, responding that way might actually be a negative. It's knowing the person again. And it always comes back to that. Talking to them. What is it that I can do for you? Explain to me what the disease is about, the illness is about. Okay, what are your fears with it? Things like that. Just having those discussions with them. This one is one I have done too. Okay, I get into joking and I say, well, at least you're losing weight. Okay, thank you for letting me know I'm losing weight because I have cancer. Wow. Okay. Yes, you're joking about it. And they know you're joking about it. And, but a lot of people are very, very, when you are sick, you're worried about how you're coming across to other people. Okay. And what that does is immediately make people think, oh, wait, how am I normally looking? Okay, what about this? What about that? And yeah, that mind goes back to that whole idea of, oh gosh, what am I normally like? Okay. Yet they just start playing these games. Okay. So, and it does also make things kind of a joke. And yeah, it's just uncomfortable, ill-timed humor. That's a great way to put it, Grandma Sherry, right there. There is something to a sense of humor, and it's more important than ever at this time, but it's understanding when you share that humor. Now, I'm not saying that a comment about losing weight to someone like that might not be good at a certain time based off of certain things happening in life or whatever, but it's watching when you say these things. And Gladys, aloha, my dear. Happy Aloha Friday. And next is I'm sure it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. Okay, it simplifies it. When we come in and automatically just jump to, it's going to be fine. I'm sure you'll be fine. It can very quickly be taken as simplifying and minimizing things. I do this with my mom a lot. I actually say this one too many times. I tell my mom, you know, it's going to be okay. By tomorrow, you'll be feeling better. It'll be okay. Just look tomorrow. But then I'm realizing when I step back later that I kind of minimized how she was feeling right now. And that's something I never wanted to do to begin with. And so And last, and this is a hard one because a lot of us go to this, and that's religion. This was God's plan. God's going to take care of it. And trust me, I understand what you're saying when you say God will take care of it. Put it in God's hand. One of my favorite poems out there is the Footprints poem. Okay, for those of you who don't know, it's about a person who's walking down the beach. Okay, and you see with Jesus or God, and you see two steps. Okay, two sets of footprints there, and then all of a sudden, when things got rough, it becomes one set of footprints. And the person says to God, to Jesus, why did you abandon me at that time? And Jesus responds back, no, that was the time I was carrying you. And so I understand it. In fact, I have it I have it posted in the house and stuff like that. The thing is, coming straight out of that, sometimes when a person starts with well, this was God had this planned, or God's going to take it, just put everything in his hands and everything will be okay. That's not always true. Everything isn't always going to be okay. And you know what? His way, we have a way of how we want something to be taken care of. God's way of taking care of something might not be the same way. And when people do focus on that, then when it doesn't get answered, the prayer doesn't get answered the way they want it, they lose faith at that point. And we know, for those of us who have that relationship with Christ, we know God's there with us. Okay, and he will be there for us, throughout that whole fight. Throughout our highs and our lows, he will be there for us. And he will help hold us. He will hold us and carry us during those times. But that doesn't mean it's going to be better. It doesn't, again, it's that minimizing of it at times. Okay, now in a discussion where maybe you guys are having a discussion about religion and the illness, especially if it's palliative care or something like that, you may talk about something like this at that time, but it's in context of a larger picture. Okay, it's in looking at a lot of other sides to things. My dear child, when you saw only one set of footprints, I was holding you up. Exactly, Gladys. And it's super triggering. It is. It speaks to the soul, that one poem. It does speak to the soul because we've all been there before. And what do you think about it's going to work out the way it's supposed to? It's kind of the same thing. Okay, yes. To some degree, yeah, things are going to work out the way they're going to work out in the end, but do we have the ability to change things? Gets into that discussion. Do we have the ability to change whatever the future has? Okay, am I supposed to say, oh, well, I'm not going to take this new medication that has come out because everything's going to work out the way it's supposed to work out? No. Hope helps us in these ways. Okay, hope is there. Our relationship, and those of you understand where I'm talking with faith, it's more than just saying, well, whatever he's going to do, he's going to do. Because he also expects us to do for ourselves too. And take care of ourselves and things on that level. Grandma Sherry, as my brother was dying from cancer, he told me that dying would be so wonderful. I was 24 and didn't understand. He knew his God was holy. Yeah. It amazes me, guys. I have been in the room and watched countless people pass away. Countless. And it's amazing, the stories. It's amazing, seeing people reaching out. They're reaching, and I'm sorry, I know some of you may not be believers and all, but I've seen things, and I know some people can count it up to science and stuff like that. But it's one of the greatest gifts anyone could ever give, is for you to be able to share in that moment, because it really shows you so much about humanity. It shows you so much about sorry, I'm getting off track there. And also, so yeah, Hey, Amber, talking about faith and all is part of this. And yes, a lot of talking to someone who is dealing with a chronic disease, invisible disease, something that's just continuing, even if it's not life limiting. Okay, even if it is something just like irritable bowel or something like that. Okay, it doesn't have to be cancer or something for this to be this way. You still may have those conversations about faith. Okay, in there. It's just knowing how you're seeing it and recognizing how you approach it. And so those are some of the things for saying and not saying. Now, the next thing I wanted to address, though, is taking care of ourselves. Because when you are a support system for someone else, taking care of yourself is more important than anything else in the world at that point. Okay. And I wanted to kind of go through some of those things. Gladys has, when my sister was dying, she would take her hands out from the covers and put her hands in prayer. Yep. Wednesday was my brother's birthday there. Yes, they are. They are, Gladys, actually. They are. And you've had a lot of family. The family are parting that right now, that's for sure. So I used to say that about my family. And also, it's the oxygen mask thing. Yep. And exactly, Miss Amber, you and I think exactly alike. Bingo. Remember, when you're on a plane, what Amber just said there, okay? And those oxygen masks come out of the container, out of that overhead place. Whose oxygen are you asked to put on first? The mask. Whose mask do you put on first? Yours or your child's? Every one of us who have ever flown have heard the speech. Please put on your own masks and then take care of those around you. Because you're not going to do any good if you're sitting there fighting with your 2 or 3-year-old to get a mask on their face when they're scared to begin with, okay? And your oxygen depletes, and now you're out, and no one's there to help your child. Okay, it's the same thing in these cases. We have to remember, how can we support someone through illness if we ourselves have nothing left in us? Yeah, you can't. Exactly, Angie Murray. You can't pour from an empty glass. How can you be there and help someone with true empathy when you are empty yourself? So we have to take care of ourselves. And a lot of taking care of ourselves, you guys, as I go through some of these, you're going to be like, I know that, I know that, I know that. Doesn't mean we're doing it. Okay, I can guarantee you I'm not doing most of this stuff. And I need to stop myself, okay? And usually you recognize you're not doing it when all of a sudden you find yourself totally stressed out to the max. And you're just like, I can't figure out how to pull this off now. Okay, and then you're like, oh my God, I need to take a little bit of time for me now. And then you start over. So the first thing is, remember, we need to take time for ourselves. Okay, plain and simple. Yes, we want to be there for our loved ones. We want to be on the phone with them. We want to be sitting in the room. Like I said, there are times I try to be with my mom every night, but there are nights. Last night was one of them. Okay, I actually said, you know what, I think I'm going to go to bed and watch a movie from my bed right now. I need time to recenter myself right now. And that's what this is about, taking time for yourself so you can check in with yourself and make sure everything is fine and that you're taking care of yourself. So now you can turn around and help them. Yeah, Gladys, exactly. Okay, everyone keeps telling you, okay, Gladys, to make sure you take care of you. I think we have to realize there are things we cannot control. Breathe, take 1 hour, 1 day at a time. Yeah. And that is part of the thing. Okay. We can't control everything around us. We can't fix everything around us. And that's also part of taking time for ourselves because we can come to terms with a lot of that during that time. Try to find ways that you have other family members who can help you out during that. Friends. Many of us have friends who would be willing to help us if we just ask. So ask them those things. This one, eat a well-balanced diet, exercise. Is that easy? Oh, hell no. Not when you're really taking care of someone who really needs a lot of your support. It's extremely hard. Okay. Finding time to exercise when you are waking up, going to work, coming home, taking care of this, taking care of that, taking care of your own kids, then taking care of your loved one who's hurting bad or having something going on. And then you're finally getting to sleep and it's like 4 a.m. Okay, when do you find the time for exercise? Those are the things you've got to find it though. It doesn't have to be a half hour. Okay, exercise we know does things like release endorphins and stuff like that that helps us. Lynn, how you doing, my dear? Welcome, my dear. And good to see you. Really good to see you. And so taking that time to make sure you're eating correctly. Okay, when you are a caregiver is not the time for you to become fast food mania. Okay, I know it's hard. You can't cook, so it's so much easier just to run by Mickey D's or go to Taco Bell or something like that. So much easier to do that than to have to cook. These are times that we as a community can help each other. Okay, one of the things that I found out about, actually, not through the trying to support each other side, but the actual missing person and advocacy side, is that a lot of times when there's a family who's missing a child, okay, there are people out there who sign up to provide meals for that family so they don't have to worry about cooking. There's websites out there where you can coordinate stuff like that, or Skip Meals, Cajun True Crime, exactly. And so if you know someone, okay, you have a friend, okay, you have someone that you care about and you know they are really being spread thin, maybe that's what you do. Maybe you come up, if you live near them, you can say, okay, we're putting together who's going to take food by them on Monday, who's going to do it on Thursday. Okay, my uncle, those of you guys who know Meal Trains, that's it, exactly. My uncle, as many of you guys know, was in the ICU last Friday. That's why I had to cut down on Cantina. I actually had to drop Cantina and leave because I had to make phone calls real quick. And that was one of the things I was telling my auntie. We can't be there to do anything to help her while she's, by the way, he is out of the ICU right now. And he is doing better. Day by day, he is, doing better. He's been out of the ICU for, I think, 2.5, 3 days now. And, but I told them, okay, unfortunately, I can't drop food off at their house, but I can buy them a gift card for Uber Eats or something like that, so that they can buy healthier foods and have them delivered rather than just run through a drive-through. And so hydrate, drink, have your water, do your Baroka, whatever you need to get your vitamins in, because you need those things. Yeah, it was wonderful news. I'm hoping it's all going to continue in that way. He wasn't holding food down, but day by day, day by day. That's all you can do is take it day by day. But yeah, make sure you're eating, make sure you're drinking. Okay, right. Make sure you are doing what you can do to stay healthy with the energy that you need. And tied in with that last one, know when to ask for help. There is nothing wrong with asking friends to support you. Okay, there's nothing wrong. I know it's hard. Sometimes it's a financial request. Sometimes it's just being there request. Okay, there's nothing wrong with it. I know it's hard at times. Okay, I mean, I remember when I got stuck on the mainland. A lot of you guys know that. Okay, a lot of people were saying, put up a GoFundMe. Okay, you're getting stuck on the mainland for an extra 2 months because mom broke her hip and wrist. Okay, and I did not do that. Why did I not do it? I felt guilty doing it. And yet every single person would probably have told me, why were you feeling guilty about it? Your friends want to support you. Let them support you. And so it's okay to ask for help. Yeah. Okay. I hate asking for help, Nicole. Exactly. It's hard. It's really hard because we don't want to we know everyone's having rough times. We know everyone's having a rough time. Yeah, Len, anything more than day by day is very hard. And sometimes that's all we can do is day by day. And Len, same thing. You can't ask either. Yeah, it's just for some of us, it's hard to do. And but sometimes you have to. I knew with the GoFundMe thing, there was a point where I might have had to do it. But I looked at everything and I'm like, I think I can pull this off right now. So I didn't feel okay doing it. But that doesn't mean, you know what, everyone would have said, and they were, just do it, just do it. But I was okay. But I did know there was a place where I might have to. And same with making food, things like that. If you can't, if your loved one needs medications picked up, ask. Okay, you're busy running from thing to thing to thing, and maybe you happen to have a friend. Yeah, Battissimo is, I need to change my timings on those, I think, actually. And because some of these timings, they're all set on a different timer for Battissimo, thinking that it would spread things out, but you hit this one certain time frame that they all correspond at the same time. It drives me crazy. So yeah, I think we're going to be shutting Battissimo up very soon. And but yeah, let people know. I need, oh, are you going to be running to the pharmacy today or the grocery store? Can you maybe just pick that up? I can even drive down to pick things up from your house after, but if you think you can help me out with that, it'd be a huge help. That type of thing. If you, okay, this is probably one of the biggest I have. What do you do if you say the wrong thing to someone? A lot of times we don't say things to people because we're scared we're going to say the wrong thing. And so we just don't say anything. The problem is, you know what? Sometimes it's better to say the wrong thing than to say nothing. Because saying nothing is saying something. Okay, in the end, it is. And also, if you say the wrong thing, if that list of stuff we said happens to come out of your mouth and you realize that you've upset your friend, you know what? Don't harp on it. Don't get so stuck on it because that also upsets your friend too. But acknowledge it. Apologize, acknowledge, I'm sorry, I didn't realize how that might come across until I actually said it. And just acknowledge, apologize, move on. Acknowledging is important because your friend will probably thank you for acknowledging that you did say something that probably was not said in the best way. And but I can guarantee you, your friend would rather you at least say something to them than not say anything. And so do those types of things. Let them know that you care about them. And if you screw up and say something wrong, you deal with it. Okay, you deal. Mercy said, asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It's actually quite the opposite. It is. It's a sign of self-awareness and strength. Bullseye. Yeah, exactly, girl. That's exactly what it is. Okay, it's knowing what you need to do and what you need to say, okay, for you to continue living your life in a way that you need to right then and all. So we're coming to the end of this one, and we got, almost 45 minutes before Cantina pop up. So let's see. I did not even drink all my vitamins yet. And so what are your guys' takeaways from this? I know there's, and hopefully my signal's behaving. I just got a weird little signal right now. And, but what are some of the takeaways that you guys have from there? For those of you who are watching this after, please put those down below in the comment section. But is there something that you're taking away from this? Something that you might be able to remember next time you are providing support to someone you care about? And I know with me, it really honestly is just knowing that it's okay to take time for me, that it's okay for me to say to my loved one that, you know what, I need to have some time for me right now. I'll be back. I will be back. I just need to do this for me for a few minutes. And that's something that really has made a difference for me. Doll. So, we are going to be finishing up here and moving on to Cantina. Cantina is going, for those of you who are new, and I know we got some newbies here, Lynn's takeaway. Thank you, Lynn, for a takeaway here. I need to ask for help, and no, I'm not being neat. Bingo. Because you're not. You're taking care of yourself by just asking. It's not, we see it as needy. For some reason, there's a group of us out here who always see it as being needy, and it's not. It's actually being respectful of yourself and your own limitations. And you know what? In a way, it's allowing the person that you're caring for to be able to care for you, which is awesome. Because a lot of times they're getting all this care from us and they want to get back. So, doggy bag takeaway. I need to ask for help. Swallow your pride. I love it. Doggy bag takeaway. Exactly. I got one doggy sitting here. Roof, roof, roof. I was looking at one of the original Mental Health Fridays going into Cantina, and I had Wrigley at 8 ounces. He had just come home to us a couple days before because I actually raised all of them here. And I'm going to have to do a clip of that and post that somewhere because he was so tiny. He was he was like that big. He was fitting in one hand and everything. Oh my God, he was so cute. So I'll have to share that out with everyone. So, Amber, I don't have to fix it. I just need to be present. Bingo. Exactly. Mercy, I don't have that problem. I always say what I think and bluntly. Some people don't like it, but those who know me appreciate it. They're never left wondering. And see, you know what? I wish I was more like that. I'm getting more like that. I definitely am. I don't know if it's age or what, but I'm starting to get more like that. But I was not that for a long time. So, but anyhow, Cantina will be starting up in 45. Sorry, someone's on my feet. 45 minutes. Yes, this was the little one that was 8 ounces at one time. He's definitely not 8 ounces now. He's more like 5.5 pounds. And also, I will see you at Cantina. For those of you who have never come to Cantina, basically it's Aloha Friday. You come together, bring a drink if you want to bring a drink. I may actually work on some diamond painting things today. Yeah, someone doesn't know that I'm holding her brother right now. Might know soon. She just noticed. So the growling and barking will start soon. Yep, we're already pulling up my hand. There you go, Cassie. Okay. Okay, there. Is that better? Yeah, you're jealous, aren't you? And also, I will see you guys at that. Again, no drama. We just hang out, talk story. Gladys is knitting. Yes, you'll have to tell us what you're knitting yet. Okay, see? Jealousy. I told you. They are jealous of each other. Oh, Nicole, no problem. Oh, you're not feeling good. Feel better, my dear. Feel better, my dear, and take care of yourself. Yeah. I know my Cantina times really are weird because of Hawaii. They start actually at 6 p.m. my time. So, yep, one more glass of wine for Cantina. And, you're knitting a blanket for your nephew. Oh, yes. That is, see, I can crochet. I don't knit. I have tried how many times and I've never been able to get knitting down. Crochet I can pull off quite a few different things, but not knitting. So, but I've been working on, last night while I was in someone else's live, I was kitting up a new diamond painting kit. So I've got literally like 7 different kits my mom surprised me with. So yeah. Mercy, basically we will start Cantina in 42 minutes, so the top of the hour. It goes, I always promise 2 hours. Sometimes I can go longer, sometimes I don't. Just depends. I've really been trying to spend more and more time with my mom at night. So, and, but for sure, for those 2 hours, we are here. So, love all of you guys. I will see y'all later. And as Angie says, have a wonderful night. For everyone else, if we don't see you, we'll see you later. And also, ooh, nice. I got to see pictures of these. Okay, talk to y'all later. Aloha, mahalo, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye-bye. Bye. Yes, Cassie, what are you doing? Oh my gosh.